Self-confidence is a big topic. I think a topic we could make a ton of videos about. But today I want to cover one topic, one part of this whole self-confidence bubble. And this is, how much do I trust myself? How much do you trust yourself? Because self-trust actually leads to self-confidence. We will dive into that in a minute. And this is especially important if you want to grow a business or you want to level up in a way, like your body, your mind, your physique, whatsoever. And yeah, let's just dive in. Hello. You're listening to 1 Week at a Time. I'm your host, I'm Vanessa, and we're discovering topics in this podcast: how to live mindfully in your day-to-day life and become your true authentic self more and more day by day. And today I want to talk about a topic that's super important and that's super interesting, and that is self-confidence. How to become more self-confident by staying true to what you promise yourself. And yeah, let's start with the question, what actually is self-confidence? I asked my good friend ChatGPT, and this is what it said. Self-confidence is the belief in your own abilities, qualities, and judgment. It means trusting yourself to handle situations, make decisions, and face challenges without excessive doubt or fear. And the Oxford Dictionary, because I didn't just want to know what ChatGPT said, but what a real source would say as well. And the Oxford Dictionary says the following: belief or assurance in oneself, trusting one's abilities, judgments, or decisions, either in general or in relation to a specific situation or activity, also called self-assurance. So, how did I come up with this topic? My YouTube For You page kind of showed me a video that I was interested in. It was a video with the title, I got rejected 365 times by posting content daily. The creator was Maureen Evelyn, and I've never heard about her, never seen any video about her. This is the only contact actually I had with that woman. And I was interested. I saw, okay, it's a relatively short video, and I want to hear what someone has to say that followed through these 365 days of showing up daily in the socials. And of course, I will link the video in the show notes as usual, so you can watch yourself. But today we will dive into some of the things she said that stood out to me and that I want to highlight in this video, and yeah, sprinkle with my own thoughts and ideas, because it inspired me in a way to show up more regularly as well, because we will dive into the because later. And she takes us with her from the decision of creating content on a daily basis or showing up on a daily basis to what happened. And she started with kind of 0 followers and just posted videos. And she said that felt really weird in the beginning, because when you show up and you post videos and there's like 10, 13 people watching, you're like, okay, what am I doing this for? Who am I doing this for? Is anyone watching? And like the process of the feeling she has when showing up. And now, fast forward, she's a full-time content creator and this is her job now. So this is super inspiring. I think it's this typical rags to riches story, or like started from the bottom, now we're here. And we love these stories. And me personally, I feel so inspired by stories like this that I think, okay, show me what you did. Tell me what you did. I am listening. And as her title said, for her, it's a video about rejection, about getting rejected regularly so it doesn't feel as bad for her, and that she still shows up even though rejection is coming up. And while listening to it, I was like, yeah, I get it. I get why for you the highlight is rejection. But for me, it's about confidence. What I heard about it is gaining self-confidence on a whole new level, because no matter how many people watch, you still have to show up and you have to stick to what you said. And sometimes this is the hardest part, staying true to yourself when it gets tough. Imagine you want to go to the gym and ask a friend of yours if she wants to join you, and you will start this new habit together. And she says, oh yeah, cool, I'm in. Let's totally do this. I'm so hyped. Let's meet tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon and go to the gym. And you're like, all right, okay. I put it in my calendar. I put my bag and I'm ready at 3 p.m. in the next day. So what happens? It's 2:30 and she's texting you like, girl, I'm so sorry. I can't make it today. We will postpone. We will do it tomorrow at 3 p.m. And you're like, all right, okay, can happen. No worries. I will put my gym bag aside and we will go tomorrow. So the next day comes, you're ready. It's 2:45 this day. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I can't make it today either because whatever reason. And you're like, okay, well, 2 times in a row, it's not optimal, but well, shit happens. So postponing to the next day. All right. Okay. Same story. You get ready. You pack your gym bag and guess what? She cancels again. And now you're like, okay, no matter how much I love you, but honestly, I don't imagine that you and me will ever go to the gym together because now it's become a habit to cancel and not to go to the gym. So you lost all the confidence you had in her, at least in this one part of your life. But sometimes it spreads out and you see the whole person differently. It's like, okay, I can't rely on her. So I have to find a different way to make my habit work. And imagine this was not your friend canceling daily, but it was your inner dialogue. You decided you want to go to the gym tomorrow and you didn't show up. So something else come up. You had to clean the kitchen all of a sudden, or you had to study for a test, which you could still do afterwards. But all you find is little excuses that say, well, maybe today is not the day to start, maybe tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after that. And so the same thing happens like with your friend. You're not having the trust any longer to really know that what you have in mind, what you want to do is actually ever gonna happen. And this just doesn't happen with the gym example, right? It's like, it's the gym example as well. We start tomorrow. Tomorrow is day one. Or a typical way us humans love to do is the 1st of January. Like we think, okay, it's a new year, so it's gonna be a new me. But I always think, why not start today? If you want to change something so badly, why wait a month, a week, a day, and not just do it anyway right now because you're ready for the change the moment it comes in your mind? Or sometimes it's like we want to learn a language and it's like, yeah, well, I can still start next week. This week I'm so busy. I have so much to do. I have so much on my plate. Next week I will start, really, honestly. Or we want to change our eating habits, not just because we want to lose weight, but because sometimes we realize, well, our diet is not the best lately. So maybe I should reconsider what I put in my body, what I fuel it with. So yeah, well, now I already bought stuff. So the next time I will go shopping, I already have something in mind. But then the next time I will buy just healthy food. Really, honestly, promise. This happens in our mind on a regular basis. I am concluding myself in this. Like, I am thinking like this all the time. And I'm like always discussing with myself, like, why did I want the change actually? Was it so important to me? Well, maybe if I just skip a day, no one will notice because I'm just doing it for me, right? And here, with that, we come to the first question we should ask ourselves. Why? Why is it that we want to do what we say out loud or to ourselves that we say we would do? Why? What is the trigger that brought us to the idea of change? And honestly, if you really have a strong why, a strong reason, taking action is not that hard. I was eating vegan for not just eating, living vegan for 3 years straight. In my heart, I'm still a vegan, but it's not about that topic. And I don't want to highlight it too much because I know there's so many feelings involved, but it's a good example for me because when you talk to people and you tell them you're vegan and everything, they're like, oh my God, I couldn't do that. And honestly, before I started this journey and before I learned so much that came with that and that brought me to the decision to change my habits of eating, living, using cosmetics, stuff like that, I was thinking the same. Like, oh my God, no, this would be way too hard. I couldn't imagine living that way. How can they do that? I mean, why? And my why was so strong because I always was, and as I said in my heart, I still am, an ethical vegan, like ethical vegan. how do you pronounce it properly? Well, I did it because it was in my heart, not because it was the logical choice, not for any outside reason, but it just was for me. And the why in me was so strong because I cried so much while learning what is actually going on that I was like, I don't want to support this anymore. I don't want to play any role in this any longer. So my why was so strong that I was not even struggling about eating something different, about going into a restaurant where I wouldn't find any food. It was so clear and it was so easy for me these 3 years straight. I mean, 3 years straight, really, no excuses because the why was so strong. And then after a while, it struggled. That's a whole different topic. We won't go into that right now, maybe another day. Um, but yeah, it was so easy. And for some people that really have a strong gym routine, for example, that really weigh their food to the gram and that really look out how many repetitions exactly and what exercise, why, and so what. From the outside, it's like, it must be so tough living this life, standing in the kitchen for hours, weighing everything to the tiniest piece. But for them, it's like, no, it's part of my life. I know why I want to do that. And it's easy for me. It is not hard any longer. Or for some people that are super entrepreneurs that like really you watch from the outside and you think you're just sitting on your desk all day long. Like, when do you live? But for those people, it's so easy, and it's not always easy. Don't get me wrong, but it's relatively easy. It's simple because for them, it's like, of course it is what I have to do. Actually, it brings me joy. And actually, I love the build and I love the grind, and it's part of my life. It's part of me. And for the girl in the video, it was about getting rejections and actually as well seeing where it might take her. Like, she started this journey and was like, maybe I can be a content creator, but it was more like a joke for her. And she was like, let's see what's going to happen. And this is the interesting thing. If you have a big why, you will always be like, okay, no matter where I end up, it is worth it for me doing this right now. And for you, it might be something completely different, something we didn't even, or I didn't even talk about in these last minutes. But whatever it is, you know, you do it for you. It's of importance for you, no one else. And no matter how cringe it might feel in the beginning, it is so important to stick to what you said you would do. It is so important to stay true to yourself, because then you will learn, oh, I can do what I said and I can show up even though I don't feel like it, even though I don't want to do it or whatsoever. Like, sometimes it's super cringe. You go to the gym and you have this strong person in mind that you want to be, and you're lifting the baby weights and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really the weakest in this gym, or I'm still like a little chubby and all these people here are so fit, like I don't belong here. And it's like, dude, you are actually there because you realize this and you are about to change. So probably no one there will think, this person is not skinny yet. What is he or she doing in the gym? Honestly, no, this is not going on in their mind, but you might feel that way. And that's normal. We all do that from time to time. Or the example of the 1st of January, when you want to start a new habit, eating better, making better choices. And you start working again on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, wherever your first work day in the new year is. And you're eating with all your colleagues and you're the only one eating different, and it stands out and you're like, great, no? And it's super uncomfortable. And they might think, oh my God, she's so weird. Why is she doing that? Oh, let's see how this will go out. But the thing is, if you do it for you, it will be worth it. You will see your body adapt to this new habit and your body change, and it will be so worth it in the end. Or the example of learning a new language. I know how that is. I didn't have Spanish in school and now I live in Spain. And in the beginning, speaking a sentence, it's like, and nothing comes out, you want to say so much, you have so much in your head and nothing comes out. And it feels super weird, especially when you're in places where you can't rely on your English, or for me, my German is my mother tongue. And it's like, okay, I have to stick with my Spanish. And it feels weird. I mean, I live here for 3 years now. And I try out a new sport right now. Maybe I will tell you about that later. It's not that new. I did it again, but long story short. And the people here in my small town, some of them speak English, but not everyone. So I have to go through this course in Spanish. And I can say a lot. I can do a whole podcast in English. I could do it even better in German because then I wouldn't have to think about which words to use. But speaking short sentences about what I actually want to say in Spanish, it's like I feel such a different person because I can't articulate myself in the way I would want to. And I know I could, but just not in that language yet. But I know I will stick to learning and I will stick to showing up. And in a year, maybe I will be, not maybe, in a year, I will be in a whole different point where these conversations that I have right now that feel hard might be super easy for me. And I'm struggling on another level in learning the language in this process. And okay, one last example is this podcast, for example. I started it with a super small audience. I had this why in my head. I'm talking about why I started this podcast in this first episode. And it was just clear to me that I want to do this no matter how many people listen. Yeah, but that's what I said before I started. And then I start doing it. I'm like, we're in episode 12, I think, right now. And I realize I start looking at the numbers and I'm posting reels and it feels like no one's watching what I'm doing. What am I doing this for? Why do I take so much heart and time into this work? But I know in the end, I am doing this for me. And I know every time I get out of my comfort zone, I grow a little in myself. I know I learn about my self-confidence about, oh, I can do this. I can show up and I can be consistent, even though no one, which isn't true, but sometimes it feels like this, no one is interested. And that's something I love. And I always come back out of an episode or out of filming a reel or out of creating something and putting out in the world that I feel like, okay, I did this. I showed up. No matter who else is interested, I did this for me in the end. And I don't know where it will take me. I said to myself, I will do this podcast for a year at least. This is the minimum amount. And then I will reconsider. Before that, I will just go through what every phase this journey might take and see what I can take out of it. What happens if I stick to it for a whole year straight? And we will see. We will talk in a year, I would think. And in her video, she says, don't worry about if a video goes viral or not. Did you post today? And in my own words, it's like, don't worry about the outcome, but did you stay true? Did you follow up to what you said to yourself you would do? And then she continues that even if this video she was posting and that I saw did just reach one person, it would be worth it. And even though no one would see it, it would be worth it as well, because that's actually what I'm talking about. It's sticking to what you said you would do. And sometimes it's good to detach the result from the thing itself. Like in my example, not checking the analytics of the podcast, of social media on a daily basis, but just letting it flow, letting it grow, letting it be the way it is naturally. Or in the gym example or the losing weight example, not going onto the scale on a daily basis, because there's always ups and downs. Your body is always working and it's a work in progress. And just checking it on longer intervals, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, and see what happened then, because you're not getting distracted by what you see on the scale, but you can really focus on how do you feel and how does your body change and how's this going. And yes, measuring the process is of importance. It's a vital part of process, but really not only focusing on the measurements sometimes is important, and sticking to what you did is more important, because that's what works in your mind. That's what makes self-confidence grow and settle in yourself. No matter what the outcome is, you know you will still do what you said you would do. And we all know we shouldn't underestimate the long run. If you do something consistently for a year, or if it's a month or whatever time period you get yourself to do something, you will grow, you will get better. It's inevitable. Like if you say, for example, I will make the challenge of posting a reel on a daily basis where I talk into the camera. The first day will be stuttering probably. The second day still. And maybe after a week, you will still don't feel comfortable. But after a month, after two, you don't even think about how to do the setup for your camera, but you know how to set that up and you can focus on something else because your subconscious has figured one process out along the way and will go to the next, to the next, to the next. And after a year, someone holds a camera in your face and says, okay, talk to me a minute about something. And you will be like, okay, what's the topic? Let's go. And you don't even think about that because you grew, and you don't see growth on a daily basis. You only see it in hindsight. Like really after when you watch your first video and like, oh my goodness, I did start with this. How cute was I? And it's a little cringe. Yeah, I was not ready, but I did it anyway. See where it took me. And this self-confidence will grow in you, and it will fade into different areas, into other areas of your life as well. I learned that during my half marathon training, which I talked about in the episode, I Can Do Hard Things. And what I learned is this discipline, this sticking to the things, even I didn't want to do it at some days at all. I was like, really? Why do I have to do this? I still did it. And it faded into other parts of my life. My work life was so much easier because I trained myself to be disciplined and to show up and to follow the training plan. So it was easier for me to not just follow the training plan, but also follow my work plan and the plans I made in other areas. It was so much easier. So yeah, self-confidence is so much more than just putting on a nice dress and getting your hair done. Yes, it might help, but it's not the only thing. It builds over time, and it builds with every time you say you will do something and you will show up. Don't be that friend that cancels every day to go to the gym, but be the friend that you can rely on, and be that friend to yourself, because that's what matters. And start in the small things. Like, you don't have to do a whole thing, a whole big process all at once. Put it into tiny chunks. If you want to start a morning routine, for example, I talked about that in the last episode, you don't have to start with a 10-step routine, but you can say, okay, what's the most important I can do right now, and make this a habit. For example, you want to read every morning, and you just start reading every morning. Maybe it's just 3 pages, then it turns into 5, and maybe you do 10 every morning after a while, until you don't even have to think about reading, but it's as normal as brushing your teeth in the morning, that you get up, you brush your teeth, and you read your book. That's it. This is how it's happening. One day at a time, or 1 week at a time, like this podcast. And then there's the question like, yeah, Vanessa, that sounds so nice and easy when you say it, but what if I fail to stick? This happens over and over again to all of us. You don't know how many times I wanted to start something, and in the end, I just didn't. And one thing I think is, when this happens, it might be that the why is not strong enough. It might be that you're chasing goals or habits or ways of living your life that's not internally coming from you, but that's coming from society, a friend of yours that does that, someone you look up to that does that, or someone in your family that always told you to be or to live a certain way, and it's their voice you're actually hearing when you want to do something. Of course, it's harder to stick something when it's not internally coming from you, when it's not your own desire. Or sometimes it's just too much change at all. Like the example I just used of the morning routine. If you want to start one, and you start with a 1-hour morning routine where you normally wake up, brush your teeth, drink a coffee, and go to work. Of course, it's overwhelming, and it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to squeeze this in. I feel so stressed already. And that's not the reason of it. It's to get into being used to what you do. If you, for example, want to start going to the gym on a daily basis, that might be overwhelming if you didn't do any sports at all, or maybe you did twice a week. So maybe you build up from twice a week to 3 times a week. And after a few weeks, no matter when you feel ready, you put in a 4th time, until you one day really at that point where you go daily. But starting it from the beginning, it can be tough. Or you do it differently and you say, okay, I don't have the habit yet, but I go to the gym daily, but maybe only 10 minutes, 15 minutes and make this a habit and then grow up and do the full training every day. I'm not a gym expert. I just do it for myself, but that's a really easy example, I think. Or you want to start eating healthier. And instead of throwing everything in your fridge out and just buying healthy food, you start by having one better choice a day. Instead of having a hamburger on a daily basis, you maybe eat some meat with potatoes and a salad on the side. So you change it bit by bit, not all at once, because it is sometimes the reason we fell, because we're just taking too much on a plate. But all in all, if I see a friend or someone struggle, I say, be nice to yourself. Setbacks are part of life. It is what happens. We are all human beings, and this is the first life for us, for all of us. So we're always in a learning curve, and we're always doing something for the first time because we're living for the first time. And if you fail for one day, for example, in your habit, it doesn't mean everything is lost and you just can quit. It's okay. Today I have a setback. I can deal with this. It just happened. And tomorrow I continue going forward with my decision. We have these days where we're mentally weak, where we're just not feeling it, where whatever is or something in life is more important than sticking to that habit. Yeah, my goodness, it is what it is. And you can always start again tomorrow. And honestly, you make the rules. If it's something you made up, if it's something you want to change in your life, you're the one making the rules. And you can decide, okay, I didn't follow through my gym routine, for example. Is it day one again? Like if I have one setback in my habit, oh no, let's take the reading example. That's more easy. If you say, okay, I want to read 10 pages every day, and what happens if I don't do it one day? Do I start over with counting it's day one of my reading habit? Or do you say, oh my God, it's just a bump in the road? No one cares in the end if I do this for 2 years straight, if I skip 3 days because whatever reason. You are the one that can decide if it's day one or just a bump on the road. And with that, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing your time with me. It means a lot to me if you stood in this podcast for so long. And subscribe to this podcast, to the show, if you don't want to miss up on any upcoming episodes. And please share this one with a friend or a family member or a colleague who should listen to this as well, because they're always struggling with keeping up and doing what they set with for themselves. So maybe they get some ideas as well about how to deal with that and what to think about them, and not being too harsh on themselves as well. All right, my dears. See you next Sunday. Wish you a beautiful week ahead. Bye, 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 bye.